Good morning, everybody. Orin J here with another War of the Visions video, and it is time to do our little preview for what's coming out this Wednesday. Obviously, the big ticket thing is Dialdo, but we do have some 140 upgrades for some units coming in, and one of the better spears we've ever gotten in this game because it's really good. We're going to look at it. If you're a newer player, especially, a very good weapon to farm this week coming your way. But let's start with the big ticket item himself, Dialdo. Now, here's the deal with Dialdo. He is an Earth tank. Something that Earth's got Moraga and Earth's got MR Mont, but here's a 100 cost premium Earth tank. If you're an Earth player, if you like playing King Bradley, Queen Macherie, Oberon, Rugia, all these other players, this guy can do it for you. He's a tank by stacking AoE resist and single target resist. He's kind of the king of stacking those things in the game. You'll see what I'm talking about as we look at his kit. And then I want to throw it back to the game for just a second because they gave us a global buff to the new vision card that's coming out next week, Dark Golem. This already gave AoE resist to Earth and Ice type unit groups. It now has an Earth type unit, single unit buff, which is unit attack resist up. So there's AoE resist, there's unit attack resist on this card. If you're pulling for Dialdo, I really think you do want to go for the card next week. Just something to keep in mind when you're calculating how much Vizure you have. Let's look at Dialdo though. His TMR, I like this one. It has 7 agility. Any TMR with 7 agility means you can stack some agility runes on that thing and your person is cruising. Dialdo has a 66 base agility himself, so he's not the fastest unit in the game, but he is certainly not slow. He's kind of middle fast. Okay. The buff on this TMR is cool as well. It actually gives you 3 turns of a bravery debuff by 20 when you hit a target. To be honest with you, I have no idea how powerful or not powerful that is, but I do know it's cool. Maybe you run Dialdo like Whisper and you just start downing everybody's bravery, and before you know it, they're chickens. Don't count on that ever happening, but it's a really cool idea. It's a cool thing to kind of think about. Let's look at the rest of his kit. His master ability. He's got the group buff. He gives himself 20 HP, helping him be harder to kill, and 10 spirit penetration, helping him do damage. He will deal a respectable amount of damage, especially for a tank. Dream ability. There's 10 AoE resist. Here's magic damage up 10%. Harder to kill, more damage, and then he gets a skill upgrade. We'll look at that here in a second. His support abilities. Now, this is where you can kind of start making him into exactly what you want him to be. You're pretty much always going to run Guide to True Silence. This gives him defense. It gives him 5 initial aggro and 15 single target resist. Here's a big source of single target resist and a really easy way to get it. Then you have to ask yourself, do I want him being tankier, doing more damage, and what type of groups am I fighting? If you want him to just be generically tankier, you can give him move 1 and HP 12%. To disregard magic up 30. Like maybe there's a time in like PvE or something, but forget that for now. Move plus 1, 12% HP. Do you want to do more damage? You can get 15 initial AP and 10% more magic damage. Do you want to fight lightning groups? You can get 12 spirit and 12 lightning resist. Do you just want to fight magic teams in general? You can get 12 spirit and 12 magic resistance. So that's kind of how that plays out. I think you just stack Guide of True Silence with whichever other one of these support jobs that you want. There you go. Move on with your day. Counter moves. Now, this is an interesting part. I'm not going to call it a weakness. He has some good ones here, but nothing really jumps off the page. I don't particularly like his new counter, Not Enough. It's only a 20% chance to proc for a 20% heal. That'll be just fine. Like, that will heal him well. But if this was 30 or 40%, I would like it a little more. Instead, I'm going to probably recommend Magic Reflex, and I'll tell you a little bit more why later. It has to do with one of his self buffs. If you just want to be lazy and not think about like who you're fighting, you just want to have one on all the time, you can run Body Momentarily like Iron, which is a 20% chance to reduce any damage by 30%. I will probably be running Magic Reflex most of the time myself. Okay, continuing. Need to sneeze. Hold on. Okay, better. let's keep going. So his main job, Disturbance Magic Spear. So this is his cheap, again, short range move. Another weakness of Dialdo is he is not a long range unit. I call that a weakness, but it's really not. He is truly a tank. He is somebody you want going at the enemy. His lack of long range moves will actually help him achieve that goal, so don't look at his short range as a weakness in my opinion. Either way, he has a magic scaling piercing attack right here. 5 uses of it, has a chance of inflicting confusion. Propagation of Resignation. This is why, this buff right here is why I recommended using Magic Reflex. This gives him 20 defense. It gives him debuff effect weakening 50% for 3 turns. So basically what this means is if he gets debuffed, the debuff will only be half as good. I think I'm reading that right. It's not perfect debuff resistance, but he will weaken debuffs that hit him by 50%. I believe that's right. I think that's right. And he gains a new counter skill, Wall of Destruction. Now, Wall of Destruction, let's go look at that real quick. This is a physical damage counter with a 50% chance to proc that will reduce physical damage by 30%. So if you have this buff on and you're running Magic Reflex, you've kind of covered all of your bases in terms of damage taking by having a reaction ability that could help you in that regard. Okay. Magic Attack of Return. This is a very short range attack, single target range, increases his healing by 20, does 210% damage, is magic based, and absorbs 30% of the damage done. The big deal here is this is a magic type attack, and the rest of his attacks are piercing type attacks. This makes him harder to tank because he has multiple different damage types. Then, Thorn that returns to nothingness. 165% damage. It's one of his few AoE moves, and it's in the like Luartha shotgun AoE setup. You know, this weird looking one. This dispels buffs, haste, physical damage increase, and magic damage increase for the targets. Again, don't hate on the short range. I'm just happy he has access to a little bit of AoE. Then he has Irresistible Salvation. This will reduce counter chance by 100 for the target, deal 200% damage, piercing, and decreases their AP by 20 with the upgrade from his Transcendence. Okay, his new sub job, Corono Apostle Despair. He does have a 2-hit chaining attack that decreases magic and decreases attack on it. It's piercing, and then he has Soul Demining. This is a group buff, increase max HP and restore that HP for allies, increase earth and lightning resist. Don't sleep on this move, especially if you find yourself fighting other earth teams. A 25% earth resist buff is pretty good. However, there are reasons to run his other sub jobs. For example, Kodadama Wielder gives him access to a 100% hit move. He otherwise does not have a 100% hit move or any accuracy up moves in his main kit. So if you need to be accurate, you have that in Kodadama Wielder. Then Red Mage gives him access to Resist Break, which is another piercing type magic move, which is again perfect for him, that decreases spirit and dispels auto revive. So he does have access to re-raise removal through his Red Mage sub job. Then his Limit Break, this is again one of his few AoE moves that he has, and again it's short range. It is a 200% modifier attack, gives himself regenerate for 3 turns, and increases a single target resist by another 20. Hopefully now you can see you want to get this guy's AoE resist up around like 50 or 60 and take that single target resist as high as you can, especially after he uses his Limit Break. And he's going to be a very, very hard guy to kill while his Earth friends start pummeling everybody. Now, he comes with a new spear, the Void Spear. This is very unique as a weapon in this game. It has an attack version and a magic version that are equally as good to each other. So you definitely want to build both of these, I would say. You get Pierce attack up and magic attack up on it. But most importantly, for these jobs right here, you get Human Killer with physical, you get Human Killer with magic, and guess what? There's some more AoE resist for Dialdo or for any unit who would want it. Now, yes, Earth does have the Elemental Spear, so if you're running like Oberon or something like that, probably the Earth attack up on the Elemental Spear is going to outperform this, but we probably have to test that out. You're going to get a little tankier with that AoE resist. Very good spear, again, especially if you're new. Now, we have some Transcendences coming in this week as well. More, not more the merrier, just regular old water more. She is getting 15% more HP, 20 spirit pin, help her do a little bit damage, and then light that steals magic shine is getting an upgrade. If we go look at that move, here's what it used to do: 200% damage with a decrease in magic and decrease in spirit pin for the targets, and it has silence on it. It still does all of that, but it now also dispels shell. More's an old unit. She's been in this game for a long time. She is an anti-mage. This buff lets her do more damage. It gives her a little bit more HP, kind of bringing her in line a little bit with modern units. I still don't think she's there. She's definitely still meant to be an anti-mage. Good luck finding all mage groups to fight with her. She's cool. I give mad respect to anybody who runs this girl. We used to see her all the time. She's kind of fallen off. Nivlu. Nivlu's cool because she is a sniper with time mage. So she has like quicken in her kit. You can do some fun things with Nivlu. And at cost 80, she's kind of usable in some cost limited situations. She's getting 25 critical hit rate. That's a lot of crit rate. She's getting acquired AP up 30, and her strong bow stance is getting an upgrade. Strong bow stance is a self buff for her. Her job level 25 skill is actually not a damage move, it's a self buff. So previously what it did is it gave her 80 missile attack for 1 turn and AP consumption down for 3. It still does those things, but now it's also an agility buff. So kind of again leaning into her ability to make things faster. Still, is it enough to make Nivlu good? I still think Nivlu is what she used to be. Can you make her like do some clutch quickens and then follow that up with decent damage? If you can, I still think that's what Nivlu's for. If not, I mean, she's still who she is. Then Surges. So Transmission from Spaceboat's hanging out in chat today. He's a big Surges fan. So what's Surges getting? Here's what he's getting. Slash resist 30, agility 15, and leap flight gets an upgraded skill. So let's look at his slash resist after that 30 upgrade. It is now 35%. Previously it was 5. So I mean, that's something. It's nothing to like frown at. And then his move that's getting upgraded, leap flight. Think of regular Glassy, right? She has Leap Strike. Surges kind of has that too. His will move him to target panel, 200% damage, 25% chance to inflict slow. That's pretty good. It will now also decrease defense pin for the target. I like moves in theory that do this thing where you're trying to like turn off the enemy's penetrations. There's so much penetration in the game right now that any way you have it disabling it could be very powerful. However, playing around that seems pretty hard to me, especially for a guy like Surges. Still, if you're a big Surges fan, guess what? For cost limited, he's 40. Very easy to work into comps at 40 cost. So that's nice. And then speaking of cost limited, Maya. She only costs 30. Why does she only cost 30? Because it's Maya and she's bad. Her dream ability is 1500 more HP, 10 more AoE resist. Again, trying to make it so she doesn't get one shot. I mean, she still probably is. And then Trick Dagger gets upgraded. So Trick Dagger is her job level 25 ability. It is a single target resistance debuff, 165% damage. It will now also decrease agility and decrease CT. Let me run you a situation where maybe Naya could be used. Say you're fighting a boss in PvE, and that boss, you are chaining him with single target attacks. You can knock that down. Say that boss can also be agility debuffed. She can do that. Say that boss can be CT downed. She can do that. So she could, in theory, be a way to really extend your wind slash chain against a boss. She could do it 3 times. Maybe that's the angle here. I don't know. I still doubt we see a ton of Maya. She's one of the units that, like, when the game first came out, I just liked her design. I liked the way she looked. But once you figure out pretty quickly in this game that, like, our rarity units aren't going to hold their own in PvP. You kind of just instantly outscale her. Still, Shinobi's bandana was pretty good back in its day. I used it some, I'm not gonna lie. But that's Mia, that's what's coming this week, and that's it for the preview. So remember, if you're pulling for Dialdo, good luck. Good luck. Make sure you save enough that you can get the Dark Golem next week. And have a great day, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.